Do you like movies, comic books, science fiction, and more? Then you come to the right place. This is the Rebel Radio Podcast. You can find us at therebelradiopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and join our Patreon for just $2 a month where you get exclusive episodes. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
This is Long, the Amazonian.
But they're all chicks, dude. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
That would be a little odd, but
It's a very inclusive society.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
If you say so.
Very esoteric.
Well,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. As I said, how was your guys' Christmas?
It's good. Yeah.
It was good. I had my bill, I guess, at my mom's place.
Yes.
As far as good
Sometimes
eating.
Yeah. Well, I still have more Christmas tomorrow. So, just waiting for my sister to be in town. So I get more Phila family. And believe me, I had enough family the last couple of days. But
You can't back out of it and use pandemic as an excuse?
fortunately, no. Kids are expecting more gifts. So,
Yeah.
and,
It was, my family gathering was like 4 at the max. Me, my brother, and my parents. That's it.
yeah.
So,
Well, off air, I'll explain why I'm not looking forward to it. But we'll keep that dirty laundry off the podcast.
gotcha.
But
Clue taken. Hint taken.
families, they're wonderful. But we are almost the end of 2020, which has been a interesting year to say the least. And
Speaking of
Not so much-
Christmas,
yeah,
speaking of Christmas, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Carly Rae Jepsen released a modern Christmas song called "It's Not Christmas Until Someone's Crying," and it's a pretty, basically the song about any kind of stress that involves the holiday, whether it be meeting family or last minute shopping or finding something that's hard to get. So, yeah, good song.
yeah.
It's
I mean, this is
very Bob Rivers-esque, or
who's Bob Rivers?
the
I
Twisted
have no
Christmas
idea.
songs. You know, instead of Santa Claus is coming to town, it's Santa Claus is fooling around. It's a song
No.
about Santa Claus going home to
No,
home.
this is an actual song that's played on radio. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mainstream, not comical.
come on, dude, get with it.
I mean,
No.
this is our last official episode of 2020. Not so much a year-ending episode, but because there wasn't a whole lot of great stuff to look back on this year, unfortunately. But we've almost made it to the end at least, and but we're going to keep things in a positive light. Talking about a film today that just hit streaming in theaters yesterday. Look forward to 2021, and maybe next week look at some more positive stuff as we move into the new year and what we're hopefully looking forward to. There's been a lot of negative this year, so we'd like to keep it a little more positive, even though the movie we're talking about today may not be as positive as we wanted it to be, at least for me. But we'll get to that soon. So I guess let's get into today's show then. Download this, man, where we tell people what we've watched, streamed, played, checked out this week. Whoever wants to go first.
Sure, I'll go. Played some more Black Flag. Long still haven't progressed from where I told you I was, where I was trying to basically have to stalk like 2 guys and
Oh yeah.
guards at every corner, and sometimes you get into a fight with them. And I kept losing sight because I kept getting into fights and stuff. So I'm still trying to get.
Why? Someone kept looking at you funny? Is that why?
Yeah. Like, hey.
That NPC is like looking at you strange.
Basically, they started it though. They started it.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till I get my ship, or at least get to wield pistols. I'm just wielding swords right now, but can't wait for that. And then I've been playing Rainbow Siege more and more. And
Is it fun?
I like it. It's cool because you're not, you don't have to like level. It's not like an RPG where you have to level up, many levels to get to the fun stuff. You can just find a match and you're part of a team of 5 going against another team of 5, and they're just different classes basically of people. Different people have different loadouts, and it's just defenders versus attackers. And then after 2 rounds, you swap positions, and it's whoever wins 3 times first. So it's just very quick, and I guess that's why it's so addicting, because it's so fast. It moves very quick. You don't have to really, play for a long time to, get to somewhere where you're on an enjoyable quest or something like that. So it's good for me for, someone that doesn't play a whole lot, but I can hop on for like maybe 40 minutes at a time and play a couple rounds and have some fun. And it was free. I was on Xbox Game Pass. Well, I pay every month for the Game Pass, but it was free with it. And then as far as movies, I bought a bunch of movies because Vudu had them marked down to $5, and I got Fifth Element, watched that. I got Rocky 3 and 4, watched both of those. Watched Rocky 4 like 3 times. Watched Quick and the Dead, and then
Watched it 3 times in one day.
No, 3 times in a week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sure your wife appreciates that.
She's always impressed with the workout montage. Just how, like, because Stallone was 40 years old right there, and people don't realize that. Dolph was a bit younger, but yeah, Stallone was getting up there, and it's like, for 40 years old, he looks pretty darn good for 40. I don't think I'll look that good unless I take that HGH that he was on. But that, and I know I watched something else. I'm gonna have to remember. Maybe I'll add it on to next week. But that's basically it. That's what I kind of want. Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, my week's pretty straightforward. I found out that Ghost of Tsushima has a free game mode where you can play co-op with some friends.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. The more you play it, the better gear you get. That's a pretty fun game, Ghost of Tsushima. And play a little bit of Star Wars: The Old Republic with a couple of online friends I haven't seen in years.
Nice.
It's like very disorienting because after 4 years of not playing the game, it's progressed to the point where I've forgotten how to play. Like, shoot. I'm going into all these dungeons and I'm forgetting all the mechanics. Like, I forgot what to do here. What the hell is this?
Oh, yeah.
So out of practice. And they've added so much stuff since then. And it's like almost the 9th. This is the 9th anniversary of The Old Republic too. Funny enough. Movies. I yesterday watched Uncle Buck. Classic John Candy movie. Love it. It holds up pretty well. I'm tempted to get the Blu-ray, The Great Outdoors, starring Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. One of my favorite comedies. You've guys seen Uncle Buck?
I have. That's the one where he's got to babysit his nephews, right? Nephews and nieces. Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin was pretty good in that one too. And also, I based on Mark's recommendation, I watched Soul today as well. And I kind of want to talk about it with Mark a little bit when he talks about his download list. But yeah, that's my download list. Go ahead, Mark.
I I watched the season 2 gallery episode for The Mandalorian. I just wish it was a whole season, not just one episode.
Yeah,
and
gotta be more.
I mean,
At least one more.
they don't even mention the Luke stuff at all.
Yeah,
So, which was kind of odd. Because it's like an hour and 15 minutes, so it's just a little bit for me to each episode. And I was just like, it was cool, but it was also like, I expected more, you know? And then we watched our annual Watching on Christmas Vacation. Got that in finally. And we watched the holiday movies that made us episode of Elf, which was just not that interesting. Well, you do this documentary about the making of the film. There's not an interview in there with James Caan, not an interview with Will Ferrell, not an interview with Jon Favreau. It's like not an interview with Zooey Deschanel. It's all just these producers and people that helped make the movie that you don't give a shit about. You know, you're watching a documentary about the making of a film. You want to see the people who made the fucking movie, you know? And it was just like, it was a little disappointing. Because the other, like the movies that made us, well, the movies that made us, you know, they had interviews with Dan Aykroyd and the Ghostbusters, and the Die Hard episode they talked to Bruce Willis, and you know, it was like, I don't know what happened with this one. Maybe nobody wanted to talk about Elf. That's really about all I really watched this week, other than watching Soul last night, which man, you know, it's from Pete Docter, who directed Up and Inside Out, some of the more emotional heartstring pullers of the Pixar films, and Soul is no different. It hits all the right notes and pulls at your heartstrings and tells a quite an excellent story, I thought. Imaginative, as Disney films usually are, with a very important message in it too, that gave you a sad happy at the end of the film with the message it delivered. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Pretty deep movie too.
Yeah, very
pretty deep.
One of the,
as far as the themes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But honestly, one of the better Pixar films the last few years. This one was really, really good.
Yeah. I love the soundtrack to this movie as well.
It's scored by Nine Inch Nails' Trent Reznor, and he did an amazing job. He did an amazing job with it.
Yeah, he did the afterlife stuff, all the stuff that's not related to Earth, and then John Baptiste from Steve Colbert's did all the jazz music sequences.
Right.
Jamie Foxx voicing the main character did a very good job, as well as Tina Fey. Yeah, I looked at the credits. Yeah, this Tina Fey playing the number 22 sidekick. Yeah, she was really good in it. And then I couldn't figure out that voice of the mystic. It's like, that guy sounds familiar. Oh, it's Graham Norton. Okay, one of the best late night interviewers, you know, on television. Well, BBC television at least, because it's kind of funny. I didn't expect such depth from a movie that explores the meaning of life, your purpose in life, and how to not. It's just hits you right here in the soul. But I think I enjoyed this more than Onward. In a way. Yeah, it doesn't depend on very many jokes as Onward did, you know. Nor did it have a bumbling character that was kind of annoying, neither. My only nitpick with this Pixar movie is that I feel like this is the third straight Pixar movie that deals with death in some way. Because Coco dealt with, you know, Day of the Dead, you know, and the father that passed away. Onward dealt with another character that was dead, you know, they dealt with that issue. And then
it's a very common
third
theme.
Of course, death is a common theme lately with Pixar. I don't know what's it. They have a morbid outlook all of a sudden lately.
Maybe so.
Yeah. So yeah, if I were to score Soul, I would definitely give it a solid A for sure. How about you,
Yeah, I
Mark?
agree. Oh yeah, solid A. I always enjoy films that are centered around music, especially if they're well done. And and this was definitely that. Centered around jazz, I thought was a nice look into that culture. And I've actually read some people on the internet complaining about this film, saying that Pixar was stereotypical with their first African American lead character. I didn't feel that at all. I felt that it was absolutely appropriate to do it. He's a jazz teacher, and I didn't feel it was disgraceful or anything by making him that. I'm like, I don't know what you want him to be. I mean, I thought it was
Yeah.
handled very well. I didn't understand those critics that were saying that. Because again, it's
Yeah.
probably one of those issues where it's a small vocal minority wants to complain about
Yeah.
everything. Because this was an excellent, excellent film. Very well animated as always. The music was fantastically done, from the jazz score to Trent Reznor's score in the Afterlife. And again, like you said, it really does hit you in the soul. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I shed a few tears watching this movie because it hits you pretty hard, but it brings it together to a very heartwarming ending that made sense,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's a shame this movie did not get a theatrical release because it probably would have played very well on the big screen,
Yeah.
but I'm also
This.
glad we got to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I got to see it with my new surround sound.
Yeah, we watched it on the sound
great
bar last
surround
night too.
sound. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Matt,
Matt, if you you
try
have a
to watch
surround
it.
sound system, don't you?
I have a 2.1. We got the subwoofer in the bar. But I don't have
okay.
you have the 5.1, right?
Yeah, with detachable rear speakers. Yeah.
Mhm.
No. Well, that's good
Highly
stimulus
recommend.
money if we ever get it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Highly
Yeah, I
recommend.
highly recommend it.
watching.
Yeah.
Definitely.
My seal of approval. The trans seal of approval, which is hard to get. So.
And honestly, a better movie than the one we're fixing to talk about. But
Yeah.
so our feature film this week, as we're going off our retrospectives and doing a film that just hit HBO Max and theaters, which we've done this a few times. We covered Avengers Endgame and Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, and there might have been one other one in there I'm not thinking of. But sometimes there's films that are just big to that point that you want to cover them. And so we're doing Wonder Woman 1984. And, well, Matt Long, why don't you go ahead and summarize it?
Well, I enjoyed it because I didn't have to deal with any buffering issues. So,
Well, that's not why I have problems with it.
well, I know. I'm a little disappointed in it. It didn't quite reach the bar the first Wonder Woman movie did. But there were. I was disappointed in it mainly because in the second act and part of the third act, the first act was great, without getting into too many spoilers yet, and the second part kind of meandered a bit. And what kept that second part engaging for me was Steve Trevor and his relationship with Diana, and that was well done. I love the fact that Steve Trevor is discovering modern 1984 versus 1917.
Yeah.
That was a great seeing his reaction, and then wasn't quite keen on Maxwell Lord's character, but the more he got powerful, the more I kind of find, oh, okay, this is interesting. An interesting villain motive too, because you don't see it in a way where the main villains always in superhero movies always have a motive that would harm a lot of people, and this one he grants wishes, and it's like a monkey's paw type of deal. Yeah, and there's only really three or four action sequences in this movie. It's spread in a 2.5 hour movie, so I don't know if they found a better editor I'm sure he could probably tighten it up, cut some
Bingo.
subplot. Yeah.
Bingo.
If we had a better editor, it would be better paced in a way. So, or throw in more action scenes. Who knows? So, but what about you, Matt?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I felt
Yeah.
like it was an entertaining film.
Yeah.
I do feel like maybe the villain went out in a way that was just underwhelming.
Yeah.
I was hoping something kind of like the first film, a punch out.
Yeah. Which villain are you talking about? There's two of them.
Pedro Pascal's villain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of like watching Naruto. Naruto is going to talk his way into a victory with his words, and I felt like that was kind of like how this one went. In regards to him, and I felt like there wasn't enough Cheetah versus Catwoman or Wonder Woman.
What?
Yeah.
But I mean, would I watch it again? Probably watch it again, but I'd rather watch the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch it with anybody else, or
my wife? Yeah.
What did she think of it?
She loves it. Yeah, she loves it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very entertained by it. But she didn't watch the ending credit scene. She thought it was just over, so it was late. She turned it off.
Yeah.
I went back and rewatched it.
Yeah.
It didn't change much.
Yeah. So overall, you liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I overall liked it, but I don't exactly hate on it at all. There's definitely some flaws for sure, but there's so many good moments in the movie that I really enjoyed that it doesn't really quite give it a flunking grade for me,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my initial reaction is exactly what you said. Get an editor. Like, this film should have been 2 hours. There's a lot of wasted time in it. It really bogs down the middle of the film. I also had a problem with the whole thing at the beginning where Diana's a little girl and she gets this great speech from her aunt, I guess it's her aunt. But then nothing comes back around to that. What was the whole point in that? She's a little girl. I was thinking that was a life lesson for later on in the movie. But in the end it was pretty purposeless.
Yeah. Well, the quote,
Maxwell Lord,
the quote.
I mean, he did okay, for what they had him, for what the plot was. Kristen Wiig surprised me. I actually thought she did a good job with Cheetah. So I'm not going to knock her. But I also was the same way. There was a lot of action in the first film. I absolutely love the first film. It's the closest modern superhero film we've had to Superman the movie, which Jenkins was inspired by. And I felt like she was trying to make Superman 2 with this one, only it was Wonder Woman 2, and it didn't quite work the same way. But when there are action sequences in the film, they're great. Patty Jenkins can definitely shoot action. Gal Gadot is believable as an action hero. She does a great job in those scenes. I wanted a little more 80s nostalgia than we got, with Steve Trevor. I guess if you're going to call the movie Wonder Woman 1984 and market it the way you did, play up that nostalgia with music and other things. But instead we just had, and I like the theme they came up with for Wonder Woman, that kind of heavy metal-ish theme. But there were points in this movie where you could have used some 80s music. It might have worked better. But I don't hate it, but I don't have the love for it like I love the first one. Because the first film, I absolutely love the first film, and this one, just feels like, okay, I watched it. That's nice.
Yeah, I think we should have changed the title too. Friend of the show, Frank, he was like WW84. He's like, we've had 82 more World Wars than we've had since WW2. So he was confused. So
no, I made a joke to my mom saying that this is the 84th sequel. That's Wonder Woman. You have to watch Wonder Woman 2 through Wonder Woman 83 to catch up what's going on.
Expanded universe, Earth 522.
Yeah.
But I felt like the quote at the beginning, that kind of, it wasn't the life lesson that the stepmother said, but there was something that Gal Gal Gadot's character Diana said at the beginning, that you don't know what you're doing until you come out on the other side of it. And I felt like that's what she was trying to get through to Pedro Pascal's character.
Yeah.
That what he was doing, that he needed to see what he was actually doing. And she kind of tossed him on the other side of it with her lasso, and showing him.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Well, then at the ending was a little bizarre, like the way she made him just got everybody to renounce their wishes. But her speech was great, but I was also kind of like, I don't know, I was a little confused by the plot because they made it sound like earlier in the film that would not have worked for everybody to renounce their wishes. Like you had to stop him. And then he just sort of walks out of the building and is reuniting with his son. I'm like, isn't he going to be arrested? I'm like,
yeah. Yeah. Before that little point, let's see. I'm going to nitpick this. The fight scene between her and Cheetah would have been better if it wasn't hidden in the dark. I think there's something there, but they had an extra time to fix the CGI. I don't know why they didn't do it, considering how many delays they did, but
right.
The potential was there, but I don't know. I think what would have made this movie a lot better was they could have combined Cheetah's and Maxwell Lord's plot story, combine it into one character, where Cheetah could be the one that's in a position of power. She's the one that's obsessed about, getting her way, and then she might have a daughter as well. So if they had combined the villain into one character, then it would have worked better instead of shoehorning Cheetah in there. Yeah.
Well, and then it feels like Patty Jenkins was trying really hard to make this a father-son story with Maxwell Lord's son, but then the plot, the way it moves forward, the son becomes an afterthought until it's convenient for the plot. Mm-hmm. So you don't really buy into the father-son story. I didn't believe that this egomaniac really loved his son all that much, but they tried to play that up. It was disappointing because that could have worked really well as a plot point, but they just didn't handle it right.
Yeah. And they could have set up a sequel too if they made Barbara in the Maxwell Lord position character, and if she had a daughter, that daughter could grow up in the modern day like a third Wonder Woman movie to be Silver Swan, out for revenge against Gal Gadot, But that's just me thinking about stuff that could have been, but yeah.
Also, if this is still a shared universe, are we supposed to assume this takes place before Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman? Because if this massive event, the same thing happens in the Marvel movies too. There's this massive event going on in the solo films, but none of the Avengers show up. Batman and Superman aren't going to show up and help her. And that's my thing with these movies sometimes. It's like, where are the other heroes if these are supposed to be shared universes? And that's bothered me in the Marvel films too before.
Yeah.
But I guess
they don't want to take away their thunder. So.
Right.
But in a way, it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because when I was thinking about the Mandalorian's season finale, despite how cool that rescue scene is for Luke to come in and rescue Mando and his crew, it kind of took away from Mando a little bit, because it's like, well, I don't know, it kind of felt like it wasn't a wasted cameo, but it kind of took a little bit of thunder away from the main characters of the show that's been there. But that's just a little nitpick from a totally different movie. But as far as positives, there are
Gal Gadot, she's really good.
Yeah.
In the Kingdom Come armor.
And she's still sexy as hell as Wonder Woman and kicking ass.
Yeah. You really felt her getting weaker and weaker, by the end of that White House fight, which was pretty well done.
That was another plot point. Yeah. But how many times have we seen the superheroes losing their powers thing. That was a little bit.
Spider-Man.
Well,
Yeah. Superman,
I like
Spider-Man, Wolverine. It's just like,
yeah.
I didn't hate it, but it's like, okay, it's been done before. Now this was done in a different way, but it's been done so many times.
Had to become the one that she loved to get her powers back.
But it didn't drag as long as the others, though. To me, at least,
No,
I mean,
no,
they didn't
just
make
the middle hour of this film.
Yeah, I know. It was more of a gradual thing, but once she realizes it, they didn't dwell on the part where she totally lost it.
Yeah.
But not like it felt like it. Spider-Man 2 felt like it was 40 minutes of him without powers, and
but it's really only like 20 minutes. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while.
But yeah, no, I agree. There's some positives too. I thought Pedro Pascal his acting was fine as Maxwell Lord. Like I said, Crystal Wick surprised me. She did a good job.
Yeah. Emma Stone turned down.
I saw people online saying the special effects weren't that great. Other than the dark scene, like Long mentioned, I thought the CGI was fine. I thought the whole scene in Cairo on the road was pretty badass with the trucks and all that. Her flying on the lightning bolts was cool. I really don't have a problem with the special effects. I just had a lot of hope for this film to be as good as the first one, and it's just it's very disappointing that it's not. It's not a bad film; it's watchable, but I guess maybe the expectations are too high because the first one I think is really, really great. And maybe it's one of those situations where it's just the bar was set and you just can't quite get back to that bar unless you're, Christopher Nolan, where you just, can sometimes reach that bar or higher. Not every director can do that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, come on. Does everyone remember Insomnia?
Oh, I know. But no, I still think Patty.
Yeah.
Well, I still think Patty Jenkins is really great, and I'm still looking forward to her.
She
Star
still
Wars
won
movie.
an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still looking forward to her Star Wars movie. Looking forward to hopefully doing another Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And yeah. But it's playing on HBO Max. I mean, what do you guys rate it?
You guys go first.
I'll give it a solid B.
Okay.
It wasn't, and I think that's just because I had high expectations, and I felt like, just I wanted more of some of the things you guys talked about. 80s nostalgia. There was like some nods to it there. Pedro was kind of a outlet for 80s nostalgia. The whole whatever you want, take it, it's yours, and it belongs to you. I think it's a solid B.
I thought that was pretty amusing, actually.
I thought it was
whatever you want. It kind of reminds me of you, Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maxwell Lord kind of reminds me of you, except for the part that's a disappointment to his son or whatever.
I know, right? That was pretty bad. He was trying to punch above his weight, but he had nothing to back it up.
Yeah. I give it a B-, because I'm a fan of the character, and it's kind of hard for me to shake that bias loose,
Yeah.
So it's a B-.
I really loved her performance. Yeah.
Yeah, and and the character Wonder Woman in this movie, you still understand her motivations. She tries to save everyone that doesn't get damaged by collateral damage, which is you don't see that in a lot of superhero movies. They're just punching and kicking and not worry about collateral damage, and she's going out of her way to make sure people are safe while she's fighting, which is even harder to do. And she tries to do it in non-violent ways. She tells Steve, "Hey, look, these Secret Service guys, it's not their fault. Just don't kill them." So, yeah, and I really like that aspect of the character, because she knows that violence has a lot of consequences to it.
You know, she
Eh,
sure advertised herself as being Wonder Woman all over this film, though. You know, she was not worried
yeah,
about her secret identity.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's what hurt the continuity a bit. Um, and I think it's the continuity of Justice League or Snyderverse that kind of handcuffed it a little. Uh, they didn't have. I say they should have went with a soft reboot. Just go off of the first movie and don't worry about trying to keep things secret based on Batman versus Superman. Just ignore all that crap. And that they wouldn't have wasted time trying to stay in continuity. So.
Yeah, man, I really want to like this film more, but I can't even. I got to go C plus. I just can't. I don't even know if I get the B's on this. I was just pretty disappointed with it. Like, there's so much to love about the first one, and maybe it's just because the World War I story makes it work better, and the whole idea of the little group of soldiers she was with, and how you cared about every character in that group, and how she cared about them and looked after them as they went through the war. So it became a story about her finding out who she was as a hero and protecting those around her. And in this one, it's just like they threw all that work out the window in the first one to kind of make a pretty typical good guy versus bad guy movie. And yes, and I think that's why I don't like it as much, just because it's just so typical. And and then just to have Steve come back just to lose him again is just heartbreaking to her character. But I got to go C plus. I just can't go higher. I wanted to like it more, but at least we have the first one. We have one great Wonder Woman film, so we'll take that.
The third one, I can kind of predict that the Amazons leave the island to tell Wonder Woman's like, well, it's been 100 years since you've left the island and nothing has changed, so you failed, so we're going to send in another Wonder Woman, and that's going to be Artemis, and she's going to be more violent than Wonder Woman. And then Wonder Woman is like, that's not right. That's one of the best classic Wonder Woman stories too, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this movie's release is going to be stunted by the whole COVID thing, and hopefully the executives don't use it as an excuse. Like, well, critics are not really loving this as much as the first one, so we don't know if we'll let you direct the third movie or not. But that's like,
I agree. We'll see.
Which is unfair, because but we'll see. Hopefully Star Wars will fix that for her. So I mean, because she's been working on this Star Wars story for a long time.
Her Cleopatra film too.
Which is already getting some controversy because idiots think that Gal Gadot's white, but she's perfect for the role.
Yeah,
that could start shooting as early as this summer. The Cleopatra film.
But I think you might be right. I thought she was going to postpone Cleopatra for Star Wars first, since she's more ahead on Star Wars.
Maybe. Well, Star Wars isn't due till 2023, so.
Oh, okay.
So she might have time to shoot Cleopatra first.
Man, burning both candles at the end there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, right, so that's our Wonder Woman 84 review.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
But not great.
It's on HBO Max until like January, I guess 30 days, January 25th. So go watch it if you like. Let's get into our weekly top five, and we're going to have some fun this week with the top five, as it's we don't have a central topic for all three of us. We each chose our own top five topic. As Long mentioned in a text, let our hair down, so to speak, for the last episode of 2020.
I think the best way to go at this is we each go one at a time for our entire list.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
So Long, what is your?
So who wants to go first?
Matt, you go
okay,
first.
I'll go first.
Well, Matt.
Okay.
You went first to your feelings on Wonder Woman, so let him go first on the top
Okay.
5.
Okay. I did my top 5 intro into pop culture. What got me into like superheroes and anime and the movies that we talk about today.
Okay.
Well,
number
fuck, I
five,
better be on
Pop
this
culture.
list.
number
Turn you into
5. I know,
Yeah, Matt might want to turn into a total Chad where he just watches sports all the time.
I know, right? Number
No.
5 for me is Batman Returns. It was the first superhero movie I ever saw, and I just thought it was cool as shit. Just Batman taking out bad guys, and then the car with the metal shields, and even one Catwoman's performance. I really liked it. And I was little, so I didn't recognize how much of a disarray the film actually kind of is. Now I kind of noticed that. But as a kid growing up, I was like, "This is cool shit," you know. Want to watch more of this?
Yeah, and now you're number 4. You're number 4.
Oh, we're gonna do
one by one, so people don't get confused.
Yeah, number 4 is Dragon Ball Z for me. Sitting down in kindergarten, little daycare, and they would just play Cartoon Network, and reruns of the Frieza saga would play all the time. And eventually, it got a spot on Toonami, and I was able to watch it after school. So for me, Dragon Ball Z is number 4. Watching that as a kid. Number 3, being able to see Terminator 2 when I was like 8. I think it was like 7 or 8 years old. My aunt let me watch it, and
An R-rated movie, so young.
Movie. Oh yeah, she didn't care. My aunt, she don't. if you ever meet my aunt, she's big into like, you know, just letting it be. And I got to watch Arnold in Terminator 2 when I was like 8 years old. I may have been 7, but it was definitely at least 8.
Yeah, there were no boobies in the movie, so you know.
Yeah, there's no boobies. Number 3 for me. I have another Arnold film because I saw True Lies not much later than that, and I felt like that was like those 2 movies really made me an Arnold fan, and just, you know, solidified my Arnoldness. And number 1, I've got the special editions, Star Wars special editions. My uncle took me to go see every single one of them, and I became a Star Wars fan for life. And had no idea what they were. I'd see his toys all the time, and he took me and my sister and my cousin Henry to go see him in theaters, and in the back of his 68 Mustang, and went and saw every single one of them. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks.
Who wants to go next? Mark, are you still working on your list? Bad boy. No.
I got my list.
He's right. No. See, I created my list already, ready to go.
My list is ready. I was going to let you go if you wanted.
Okay. Well, you're going to get a kick out of this. I actually have a top 5 favorite Rebel radio moments of 2020.
Oh,
shit. These could be good or bad, but they're still memorable to me. All right, so number 5, Matt had to shave his head. That was a pretty big deal for Matt.
It was.
And you can still see the hurt in his eyes when you have to remind him that he had to shave his head, and we kind of started making fun of him. And then
he is a young.
We didn't call him a skinhead. Yeah. Welcome to the club. You didn't get the lifetime guarantee like I did.
No,
like Mark did. Mark has the lifetime guarantee so far on his hair.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to go eventually.
So Matt went that direction of shaving his head, but I went the opposite direction. Even though I know him better, I have a pretty bad bald line. I'm still growing my hair out, out of necessity, because I don't want to get my head touched in the salon full of COVID people and their pestilence. No. And it kind of made a semi-joke that I should look like that Asian stuntman from the 80s, from the John Carpenter movies, Al Leong. It's kind of a running joke.
Hard too?
I don't know. I don't recall. He was in so many movies.
Yeah, he was hard. Yeah.
as a background character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number 5. My number 4 Rebel Radio moment was the episode where we talked about Hellraiser, and me and Mark, we were kind of messed up by that movie. Well, at least I was. It felt like we were like, we're kind of out of our element a little here watching this movie, because that was, even though it was made in the 80s, it was pretty darn gory. It kind of made my skin crawl a little bit too, because of the grisly portrayals of skin tearing and all that stuff. But we had a lot of fun. We kind of made fun of Matt for proposing to his wife during this movie. So it was it's one of my favorite episodes of the year, because we had fun in that episode, despite the feature movie. I think it had a pretty solid top 5 list as well in that one. So yeah, that's my number 4, the Hellraiser episode. Pick it up if you want to hear us grown men try to be tough while talking about that movie. Number 3 moment is, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed blessing. The coronavirus thing turned our show into a remote recording show. So Rebel Radio's remote. We couldn't talk in person. We can, but just following precautions to keep each other safe. But in a way, we didn't have to drive all the way to Mark's to do the show.
Oh, because I live so far.
So far. So far. It's like a Thanksgiving trip.
About 8 minutes, gee whiz.
It's like a Thanksgiving journey, It takes a while to get to your place. I mean, you live in a creepy cabin on top of that too, with an abandoned house across the way. God knows what kind of spirits are roaming in there. So they're watching us while we're recording. At the time we used to record. So that's my number 3. Rebel Radio had to go do practice COVID precautions, but I think we've done a pretty solid job so far, keeping it consistent. My number 2, this is a tribute. I have to pay tribute, number 2, for Mark and Matt's balls.
Oh.
You deal with my testicles.
It all started with Mark. Poor Spider comes in and gives him the good nick while he's sleeping. No, I don't want to get too graphic. I didn't want to get too graphic in that. Getting bitten by a bug, maybe a spider, while he's sleeping. In the most no bueno area.
And poor Matt.
Yeah, and Matt trying to keep his fertility in check, so he had to go do a procedure. Otherwise, but I mean, if Matt was going to have more kids, that would have been more Social Security funding for my retirement. But unfortunately, Matt has to be the classic libertarian and try to keep that beautiful tax money from funneling my retirement. But whatever. You do what you got to do. You had to go in and get yourself
snipped.
I guess.
Snippity snip snip.
What is spade, right? Or no, wait, wrong gender. So my number 2, I have to pay tribute. 2020 was not kind to the nether regions of my 2 co-hosts. So we have to pay tribute to those. And then my number 1 Rebel Radio moment is my triumphant return to the show. I only took a 1 or 2 month break.
If that even.
And yeah, 1 or 2 month break. I said at the beginning of at the end of the year last year, I said I'm going to cut back on podcasting because I want to focus on social life a little bit more on Friday nights. But COVID happened, and you can't really do that anyways. At meeting new people and all. So I'm like, well, Hey guys, with my hat in hand, I beg Mark, would you let me back on the show on Friday nights? And I was like, I begged, you know.
I think it was more like, it's like, you motherfuckers did Batman Returns without me? That's it. I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to be too selfish on that, but yeah, okay. When y'all did Batman Returns without me, I was like, no. There's so much I wanted to contribute to that. But yeah, the number one Rebel Radio moment is my triumphant return to the show, despite a 6-week hiatus.
I should have gone next because I can't top that top 5. That was good shit, Long.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My top 5 is
I actually had to put some thought in it because I kind of had to use my memory as a Rolodex to figure out, okay, what stood out for me while I was recording with you guys.
Well, my top 5 is top 5 cool shit that I own in my collection.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So.
At number 5, I have something that isn't something I bought, something I was given at a friend's wedding that he actually he's been on the show before, Brian. He had a Star Wars wedding, which was I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, but I found that to be interesting. It was a little weird for me to have Darth Vader and all these people show up in costume at a wedding. As much as I like Star Wars, that was still a little odd, but it was cool too because Brian, I was a groomsman, and he had a friend who had a 3D printer, and for all the guys, he gave us 3D printed thermal detonators. Which is pretty cool. It's a cool little item in my collection. It's unique. Definitely something hardly anybody has. So that's kind of cool. It's like my number 5 is my 3D printed thermal detonator. At number 4, I have something that might make Long a little jealous, and that is the fact that I've been able to hang on to several of my vintage Transformers that were mine when I was a kid. Including an Optimus, an Ultra Magnus, and a Soundwave, and a Jetfire. Those are the big ones.
Nice.
Because them suckers are hard to get still. My mom and dad, I guess, threw out a lot of my Star Wars stuff, even though I have some of it. But somehow, Transformers, I have a lot of He-Man stuff. That stuff survived. So at least I have that. At number 3, anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. And my Pearl Jam concert posters are some of my most prized possessions I have in my collection. Anybody knows anything about collecting concert posters usually hold a lot of value because there's only so many printed for each show, and people either roll them up and throw them into a bin or they resell them. But but they're neat memories of those shows I went to, and very precious to me. And an honorable mention of that is my Pearl Jam did some shows at baseball stadiums, and they sold baseball cards unique to each stadium in packs. And I have a pack from each of those shows they did. So my Pearl Jam baseball cards are also pretty special. At number 2, it's my signed Kevin Smith action figure. I got to meet Kevin once. It was very brief. Lasted about a whole 2 or 3 minutes as he signed it and chatted with him and took a picture. But it was an awesome 2 or 3 minutes to get to meet one of my heroes. And that Kevin Smith action figure sits on my shelf signed by him. And I would not trade it for anything. And lastly, at number 1, because Matt looks like he's going to fall asleep on the show over there. At number 1 is my vintage Star Wars collection, which some of that stuff is mine when I was a kid, and I've built it up and bought more stuff. And it's nothing can ever top my vintage Star Wars collection. It means a lot to me. All the memories of when I was a kid playing with Star Wars stuff, and if anybody touches that shit, I will kill them. It's basically that simple.
Did you ever own a Millennium Falcon set?
Yeah, we had a Falcon, the Hoth play set, but I don't know what happened to a lot of that. My snow speeder, my land speeder, my biker scout, or my cloud car, those are all mine when I was a kid. So some of my vehicles survived, but never happened. Don't know what happened to some of the big stuff, unfortunately. So, but yeah.
Nice.
But that's my top 5 cool shit that I own. So, Yeah. So I only have a little bit of news.
Cool.
Not a lot.
Wait, before we move on,
sorry.
do you guys recall any? Do you guys recall any favorite moments recording the show on your ends? Anything that stood out, no matter how obscure?
I would say, man, I'm kind of like with Mark. They're kind of a blur to me. You know, I always feel like I have a good time recording every episode, but not one. There isn't. I guess I don't know. Maybe the birthday episodes. You know, talking.
Oh,
yeah. Whenever we talk about a questionable movie, like we're talking about Roadhouse, and y'all were like, "It's not that good," and I'm like, "It's the ultimate movie."
And I was gonna say something similar. Like sometimes like movies that I might grudge against, like Master and Commander, stuff like that. I don't know, but then they usually turn out to be very good episodes. You know, those movies that you think might not work as well. Also, we hit 200 this year. That was a lot of fun recording with Carrie. I really enjoyed that. We had Rob a couple of times this year. He did Saving Private Ryan with us, and he came back for Scott Pilgrim. I do enjoy shows with guests because it gives a new perspective, and I think in 2021, even if we continue to record remote, maybe invite some more people and try to get some more friends on, and see how that goes. But episode 200 was a big one. Just to reach that plateau, so many shows don't make it to 200 episodes, and we made it, and we're well on our way to 300. This is 229 here already. So sometime in 2022 next year, or not, well, next year, we'll hit 300. That's honestly my ultimate goal right now, is to make it to 300. After that, anything's gravy, But and just the success of the show, it's our downloads are better this year. People are listening. We appreciate those people. We launched Patreon this year, so that's a big thing. And I think we're going to do Batman and Robin for December. So me and Matt will get that recorded sometime this week. But so just the show moving forward, I think the show has done better this year than it's ever done before. Just downloads and just hitting our stride. Just unfortunate we can't do it in person all the time, because I do like seeing your ugly mugs, But yeah.
And then the whiskey tasting we would do every once in a while. That was always fun.
Yeah.
When me and Matt are a little buzzy.
Yeah.
And Mark's trying to keep us in line.
And I can't thank you guys enough either. I mean, it's just something that about 5 years ago, almost 6 now, I was sitting with Matt and Frank, and I said, man, we should bring Rebel Radio back and let's do it as a podcast. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know what a podcast were. If you go back and listen to episodes 1, 2, or 3, they're absolutely terrible. We had no clue. It was about episode 17 or 18 before we really started getting an idea what we were doing. But just a thank you to you and you guys for putting in the work and watching these movies and researching them and bringing stuff to the table too, because without my co-host, the show doesn't work, and for sticking with it through this tough year we've all been through, and so like you said, what else would we do on a Friday or Saturday night? Can't do shit.
Yeah.
And,
no.
But let's just keep it going. I mean, I really do enjoy doing this. There's weeks that go by that, I'm sure I've sat there on a Friday and said, man, I don't feel like recording tonight. But then once 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And once I get into that zone, I'm ready to go. I like talking movies. I love films. I love pop culture. So, and I get to hang with 2 of my best friends and talk that stuff. And that's what makes it special. Yep.
Yarp.
Good stuff.
Yep. And how.
And how.
Yeah.
And
okay, on the news.
I have very little news. It's so if you have HBO Max, you'll be able to watch Batman and Batman the Animated Series very soon. It is coming to the streaming site, I believe, January 1st, next week. So for those of you that own those classics, you get to watch them finally. And the other bit of news I have is that the Mad Max Furiosa prequel is going to start filming in 21 for a 23 release. So George Miller's finally getting around to doing another Mad Max film.
Yep.
That's
That
gonna be
COVID.
exciting.
Yeah, that COVID better stay away from him until then. Yeah.
And
That's all I
They
have to
already
say
took
about
out Toe Cutter. I wonder who we're gonna get to replace Immortan Joe now, if he was even gonna be in the prequel, anyways.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side news. It's been reported that James Doohan, the guy who plays Scotty, who passed away years ago, finally had his ashes taken to the International Space Station.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that's neat. So yeah,
Yep.
that had to have been neat.
Yeah. So that's all the news. It's a holiday week, so might not be much news next week either. But that's it's the way it is. Maybe we'll have to come up with another sub feature for our year kickoff besides the top 5, just to make up for the news. We'll see. Well, before we get out of here again, we got to preview next week's film before we get out of here. I just thought of that. We're going to kick off 2021 talking a Steven Spielberg film starring Tom Cruise. Obviously not War of the Worlds, since we just did the original. That wouldn't make sense. And Cruise has only worked with Spielberg a couple of times. We're going to talk his 2002 film, I think. Was it 2002? Minority Report.
Okay, Jad, what's coming? Double homicide, 1 male, 1 female. Killer's male, white, 40s. Set up a perimeter and tell them we're en route.
I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks.
Give the man his hat.
The future can be seen.
All we have to run on are the images that they produce.
We see what they see.
There hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system. It is perfect. I agree.
Murder can be stopped.
Tell me exactly what it is you're looking for.
Flaws. You ever get any false positives?
We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will.
The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
The system can't be wrong.
You say something, Chief?
No. You're in a lot of trouble, John. I have a warrant in my pocket that says murder.
Don't run.
You don't have to chase me.
From 20th Century Fox
He set me up. He set me up.
and DreamWorks Pictures.
Who's the victim? I've never heard of him, but I'm supposed to kill him in less than 36 hours.
He's coming here to get her.
Tom Cruise
I need your help. If you contain information, I need to know how to get at it.
in a Steven Spielberg film.
I have to know. I have to find out what happened in my life. You tell me, who was it that set this up?
I don't know.
How about now?
On June 21st, everybody runs.
No time!
Minority Report.
This is a really cool sci-fi film, which Long has never seen.
never seen it.
Which is hard. This is one of those I'm just surprised you never watched. Knowing that you
I
like
was in my
sci-fi.
Tom Cruise hating phase at that time, so I didn't
No,
really go around.
This is a good one. The ending was a little anticlimactic, but we'll talk about that last week. But everything leading up to the film is fantastic. This is one of those movies that's just pure the kind of science fiction I love, where everything is just, it is what it is. It doesn't try to over-explain itself, and it's a cool film with some really cool stuff in it. So I think you're going to enjoy it, Long.
Okay.
Matt, you've seen it before, right?
I've seen it a couple times. I think I saw it. No, I don't think I saw it in theaters. I know my mom bought it as soon as it went to DVD or home video, whatever. And and we watched it.
It might be on Netflix or HBO Max or something. I'm not sure, but I own a copy of it, so it's not a problem for me. But
Yeah.
so that's next week's show to kick off the new year. And we'll talk about 2021 next week, and we're going to be doing some cool movies next year. We've got some cool plans. We've got our April theme month kind of planned out already with some cool movies we're going to do. So we'll let y'all know a little bit more about that next week. But again, thank you for listening to us in the year 2020. And we hope things get better for everybody. If you feel like joining our Patreon for $2 a month, do that as well. More great stuff on that in 2021. And go to the rebelradiopodcast.com and for all your Rebel Radio needs. But again, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and we thank you as always for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long, the Spartan.
And until next week, remember as always, just go there and do it.
Go there and do it.
Happy New Year.